Welcome to TAMA Talks, brought to you by the Torrance Art Museum Advocates. I'm Janine Madden, current TAMA president, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in. Today's talk will feature work currently on view at the Torrance Art Museum. Baker's Dozen is on view in the main gallery. It's a survey show of 13 artists whose work made an impression on the curators in this last year. These 13 reflect current directions in Southern California contemporary art practices. This show closes on Saturday, June 17th, so be sure to stop by if you're in the area. TAM hours are Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. The museum is located at 3320 Civic Center Drive in Torrance. Because it is a municipal museum, a program of the City of Torrance Cultural Services Division of the Community Services Department, admission to the museum is free, but donations are accepted and very much appreciated. You can find the Torrance Art Museum on the web at www.torranceartmuseum.com. This discussion will be recorded and posted to our YouTube channel with all of our previous TAMA Talks. You can access it from our website, www.tamadvocates.com. Today's special guest artist is Lola Del Fresno. She is a native of Madrid and is an accomplished artist renowned for her diverse exploration of techniques and mediums. Her artistic journey began in 1990 when she embarked on her studies in Madrid and immersed herself in the world of art. While still pursuing her education, she co-founded El Grupo Tres, an artistic collective that emphasized drawing as a primary medium, providing a refreshing alternative to the prevailing popularity of painting at the time. Paper holds a special place in Lola's work, as it embodies an intimate connection with texture, immediacy, and emotions. Over the years, Lola's artistic vision has expanded and evolved, leading her to create large-scale installations that foster direct dialogues with the audience. She frequently combines different mediums within a single piece, integrating elements like projected videos, drawings, paintings, photography, and three-dimensional structures. Lola's body of work revolves around the exploration of permanence in the face of constant change that surrounds us. Through her art, she invites viewers to contemplate the enduring aspects of our existence amidst an ever-shifting world. So welcome, Lola. We are really excited to hear about your work today, and we thank you for joining us. I understand that the installation that you have at the museum incorporates a video, but I'm going to have you share your screen to show the still image first, and then we'll run the video after we talk a little bit about the work. Is that okay?
Sounds great.
Okay. Okay, great. Perfect.
Can you see?
Yes, perfect.
Wonderful.
So tell us a little bit about, before we play the video, tell us a little bit about that image. As we said in your bio, it does incorporate that projected image with the video, the drawing in the background, and then that wooden element. Tell us how it all fits together.
Well, I created this piece when 2 years ago, when the pandemic was happening, after the killing of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery, and I am very sensitive to this issue. I've been always very shocked by the racism in America coming from another country. So my work, I always like to incorporate different media, and I use a lot of translucency between the media. So it creates a sense of a space in time, something that happened some time ago, but it's still present, it's still happening. So there are different narratives in this piece, and also it's important that when the viewer is present in this space, they all have their own impressions, and they are all gonna have their own readings too. So the way this piece came about, I'm showing a video of an African American young guy jogging at night at the beach. This is California, and I love the sense of running, right? Because running is such a wonderful experience on itself. It's the breathing, and you're pretty alive. You know, it's a moment where you feel free. There's nothing involved with social identity. You know, just running and breathing, right? So unfortunately, Ahmaud Arbery, he was killed because he was jogging, passing by some white person's home, some neighborhood, and they would profile this kid and went after him and shoot and kill him. So I'm creating a house, the element of the house. The house usually represents safety. It's the place where you feel safe, where you feel, in this case, for this kid, this person, the house was a place of danger, because just by passing in front of the house, it caused his death, right? So also there are other elements in here. The color red, what I use the color red, apart from the sense of danger, there is a thing called red lining in real estate, where Black communities couldn't buy property. They weren't allowed, Black communities, to buy property in certain neighborhoods. And that for me was shocking to learn about this. So that's why I'm using the lines also to create the space and to make people understand the amount of limitation and oppression that the Black race is been suffering in America. And still today, it's very scary for this community to live in America, because you never know what's gonna create danger in your life, right? The fence is actually the fence of a house that I live in. I live in a very original house in California. It's a craftsman house. And this fence was is really old. It's really old, and finally the landlord changed it, but I kept it because it has so much history. So I placed it there because the fence represents prejudice, and it's such an old issue that is still standing between people. So that's why I decided to put this element, a three-dimensional element, as a visual element to create a sense of separation between us, right? And so these are the basic elements of this piece.
How did you choose the location for the fence?
Well, you know, in a piece you always it has a composition, right? You have to compose the space so it makes sense visually. Because the guy is running on the right side, which is the place where there's openness, right? And as he runs, sometimes he interacts with the house. You know, as he runs, the perspective changes in the video, but somehow it's easy to be integrated in the scene, because the house is static, right? There's no movement in the house, just everything static, but his space changes as he runs. And then I created this sense of perspective. So the space around the piece, it creates a three-dimensional it's kind of integrating the space around it too. So when you are sitting in front of, or you're standing in front of the piece, you feel part of it, right? That's the intention of these lines coming forward. So the fence, it has a visual effect, like it's almost a real fence for this property too, right? So at the end, everything plays in a context that it should be kind of real, no? I'm trying to an imaginary space, but at the same time with the intention to create a real space inside a space. So I'm bringing the outside inside a building. So you have an outside experience in a way.
And no, it makes sense. This is sort of what you were talking about when you can incorporate the viewer, so that the viewer feels a part of the piece when they're looking at it.
And also the dimension, I like always to work on a real size images or as close as I can. So you have a real sense of what's happening in the art piece. Like it integrates the person that is viewing the piece.
How large is the piece that's this installation at the Torrance Art Museum?
The whole wall is 400 inches.
Oh, wow. Okay. Impressively large.
Yeah. So when you're standing in front, I mean, the house is viewed with a distance, but it's kind of a real the image with the person in front. You see the reality of it. Yeah, you can experience the reality.
So the video image is, would you consider the video image then somewhat life-size when you're standing in front of it?
Parts of it, yes, because as he runs, sometimes he goes far away, he comes closer to the camera. Sometimes he's as small as the house, so it goes in the same scale as the house.
Yes.
It's closer to the camera, and it will become even larger than real size.
Wonderful. Would you like to show the video component of it? Because once you do that, we'll be able to talk a little bit more about the audio and video.
Okay, here you go. So you see, like now he's running is closer to the sides of the house. Change. So also the title came from, there's a movie that I love, it's called Run, Lola, Run. It's a German movie that I saw years ago. And I love this movie because it's about different endings of the same story, right? So my work, I always like to integrate time and how your decisions are applied. So every second counts as whatever decisions you make, right, is going to touch you. So this piece can have many different endings, right? Viewer and how they read it. It's very interesting because as I was watching the exhibition, people were talking to me and they didn't know exactly what it was about. So they gave me their own opinion, and one person was saying, this could be like either a horror film where somebody is running away from something, or is he the criminal, right?
Right.
Or is this a young America that is running after the American dream? Also, like through the way we interact with each other, 1 second can change somebody's life.
Right.
The decision of this guy to judge the person and run after them and end up killing him. The decision of this kid to run in front of the neighborhood also was an unfortunate decision. So how every step of our life we are making decisions that also is meaning video, right? As it runs, it's also representing our life as time. So it's as we run our life.
Right. And in this case, it changed the narrative of the nation.
Yeah.
It impacted not only the people that were specifically involved, but it flooded the nation with a an awareness that has always existed that we just really properly like.
Absolutely. Um, Unfortunately, some people have to suffer this to make people aware of the injustice that is happening.
So tell us the title of this piece and then the series from which it came.
Right. So run, Johnny, run. Because it means in several different meanings. Run, Johnny, run means keep running. You know, run is amazing. I love the feeling of running. It's freedom. So you should be able to run. Just run, right? Run. The other way, run, Johnny, run. Escape. Try to save your life, right? Save your life. But also change your life, right? You can, every step of your life, you can change your life. So there's many different meanings in the title. This piece was created in 2020, and at the same time was happening, the pandemic was happening, and people were isolated in their homes. There were not art exhibitions, and the city of Santa Monica sponsored my work to create a piece that was exhibited outside our building. I have my studio at the 18th Street Art Center in Santa Monica. It's a very large studio space, and we created a wall outside so people could experience art because it was a very difficult time for everybody, right? So, so in this case, the piece, the exhibition that we created was called Recovery Justice, and it was about all the social issues that were happening at that time. So the social issues that were happening at that time, apart from the Black Lives Movement, was the pandemic. So I created this piece and another piece. This piece was played in the inside of the building, and then I created another piece for the outside of the building using the same backdrop, the image of the house. So in this case, the other image was also placed on top of the house. I use a lot of translucency in my work. So like the video, you see the translucency of the video on top of the house, integrates the piece in the scene. With the other piece called The Innocence, and it's also about racial discrimination. In this case, the Asian community, right? So in this case, the house became the sense, it was the opposite. The meaning of the house in that piece was safety net, place of isolation, where the community was isolated. The danger was outside, right? So it had a different reading.
Would you like to share that? Yeah. Okay, great. No, that's perfect, because the fact that the house is the same image but has a completely different meaning in the second piece is very intriguing.
Right. Let me show you. So, all right. So this piece also has a lot of meanings. The narrative is against the racism that happened when the COVID started against Asians, unfortunately, which doesn't make any sense. So then I incorporated this little Asian girl in here, and this girl is from another era. The girl was from the time where there was this epidemic of I guess
Polio
pandemic. So I bring this girl into the present moment because the polio pandemic was eradicated because of the efforts of the whole community. So I did a big research about how we eradicated this pandemic that was so scary, and it was touching everybody's home. Families were terrified because their children were getting polio. And the only way that we were able to stop it was all the whole communities were coming together to get vaccinated. Everybody got the vaccine, and after a few years, fortunately, it stopped. So I wanted to try to bring that horrible moment in history to the present moment, to make people aware that everybody's coming together. Just it was the only way to stop COVID in that moment, right? And get people vaccinated, and so I'm bringing here, the situation where people will have to be completely. It was horrible, so scary. So many people died. The fact that children had to wear masks, we had to wear masks. In here, for example, I'm incorporating the cotton that you had to do the test, right, instead of a lollipop. So the kids had to do the test.
Okay,
How
yes.
the elderly were very, very affected by this disease, and many passed away because they are the more vulnerable. So during the pandemic, the more vulnerable were children, elderly, the weaker parts of the population. Again, I incorporated another kid here with the polio. So I'm trying to bring two different times in history in one scene, one narrative.
And are these drawings that were done on a different piece of paper and then superimposed, or what was the process of the image placement over the redlined house?
So I'm gonna show you here the process of this piece. So I did the images on translucent plastic, right?
Oh,
Because I used plastic because plastic was the thing that we used during the pandemic. There was plastic screens all over. You will go to any restaurant, or there were dividers. We had these plastic shades for our faces. So plastic was very, very present during the pandemic as a safety measure, right? So I decided to do these images on translucent plastic, which was kind of challenging because I had to sand the plastic, prepare the section where I was going to be painting. Otherwise, the paint doesn't stick in plastic. But like that, I was successful to create the image, and then place those images on top of the house, right? So again, it creates the perspective and their place in the time and the space, right?
and this is the same image. This is the same house image as Run Johnny Run.
Correct. And also because this was a piece that was placed on the outside, and outside we were not able to put a original artwork. So the city sponsored a very large print of the actual piece. That's why I was able to show both pieces at the same time. One was the real house that I painted, right? That was playing inside with the video of Johnny. The outside was this large printed image that I was created as close as the original as possible. So all the real size of the painting was printed like that. So it was a very large piece on the wall of the studios.
This is this particular piece, and also the one that you have in the show, are an excellent example of the idea of being able to stand in front of a work for, a good long time to absorb all of the different elements of it and really look at all the details. Several other talks I've done, I talk about labels and how the labels that are put up in museums next to artwork, a lot of people spend a lot of time looking at them, sometimes more so than the time that they spend looking at the actual work. But this particular piece, is it still up in Santa Monica?
No, they it was up for a long time, and then when we had the free art fair, they invited another artist because now it became a wall for exhibitions. So another artist is in this, yeah.
Okay, okay. Well, again, this piece and the video component piece really begs the viewer to stand in front of it and hopefully, you know, become immersed in the idea that, like you said, it's really just a moment in time when you are enjoying what you consider to be a very solitary, like running, a very solitary act, very free, and how your life can change in just a moment, in a second.
I also wanted to point out a little bit of the sound of the video. So you hear the steps of him.
Did you shoot this video as well?
I did.
Okay.
Actually, what you hear as he's running, you hear my bicycle.
Oh, okay. Well, I thank you so much for sharing both the video and your other piece with us. The museum, again, I think in Baker's Dozen really is an opportunity to showcase those artists, as the introduction said, that are, you know, garnering the attention, even though you've done work in many locations and internationally. I think that idea of creating and fostering dialogue and interactions with the people in Torrance, the people who are going to come to the Torrance Art Museum and see this, is really, really important and just needs to be ongoing.
I agree. It's a wonderful opportunity for people to come and experience art and try to understand what the artist is trying to convey, and live with the different experience to their homes and integrate that into their daily lives. I think it's a wonderful opportunity.
Yes, even though your piece really begs us to sort of be a part of it, it's a very immersive piece. I think that every piece in any museum everywhere really wants the viewer to leave feeling differently than they did when they first came in. Even if you're looking at a piece you've looked at 100 times, or a piece that's very quote unquote famous, or a piece that you're looking at for the first time, which is often the case at the Torrance Art Museum, it's really inviting you to kind of stretch that your preconceived notions about things and recognize that even though work is a visual, the work that's shown at the Torrance Art Museum is primarily visual and often auditory. It really wants you to be a part of it and explore it beyond just looking at it and seeing what's there.
Correct. And it may bring you other insights that you don't think about on your day-to-day experience. It will make you consider other options. What's happening inside the house, who is living there, why this or that. It's a narrative, like a movie. Also,
yes,
many possibilities. Yeah, I always incorporate a house in my work. I do it a lot because housing is your place of origin. Where did you grow? Where were you born? But the house has so many implications, and it kind of marks your life. So yeah, that's also a component that I utilize a lot in my work.
I love the idea that you incorporated your very own fence in it as well.
Yes.
So it's that, integration of a very personal element into a piece that gives it a different kind of meaning than if you had just found it someplace in your neighborhood or, just in a refuse pile. But the fact that it's your own and represents something from a long time ago, I think is also just that added element of elevating the piece. So
Yes, I think it brings reality closer to you.
absolutely. So I do want to thank you so much for joining us today. We're just thrilled. You're the first artist that in a series of artists from Baker's Dozen who will be joining us for these TAMA talks for this particular exhibition. So we're so happy that you come out today. We would encourage people to visit our website, www.tamadvocates.com, to access this video. We'll post it probably a little later on today. And we also encourage you, the main goal of these, there's two goals, but the main goal is to give people a backstory for the pieces that are showing at the museum so that they'll go and get a greater understanding and understand what that fence means and what the house means and why it's done in red lines and just so much more than that you wouldn't know by just showing up at the museum. And then also we do it for folks who can't get out to the museum. So they'll get a sense of what your work is like, even just by not seeing it. Although, as you said, it is a large piece and it'd be great if you could see it in person. As a reminder, the Torrance Art Museum is open Tuesdays through Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. in Torrance, and the admission is free. And I thank you, Lola, for joining us. I'm going to stop sharing so people can take a look at you. And I thank you very, very much. You have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much.